As always, during HyDraw webinar, I'll try to make something that a diagram that makes sense and explaining a bit of functionality of the software. So today I start with some configuration first, and I open also the library manager, which is now here. HyDraw Library Manager is our software that is supposed to help with managing our data. Please make sure that when you use Library Manager, you are using the same library that is set in the HyDraw CAD application. So you go in the options and verify the path. Today, my task will be making a diagram and having a part list with two language description. I will use English and Italian. But I want to show you, for those that are not aware how to do it, that it is very easy to add additional properties in the Library Manager. So this is how Library Manager looks like. For those that are new to HyDraw CAD, this is the interface, but those that are already familiar, they already know what I'm speaking about. In the model properties, I have the possibility to add the new attributes. So in this case, I can add a German description. I'm just adding and assigning to all the component types. So by doing that and saving, now all my symbols in the drawing will have also a field called German description that I can use to put some German text. In my demonstration, I will not put a German text, but technically it is possible with what I'm showing you now. So I'm going to interface my diagram with this Excel file. So basically this is an Excel file with hundreds of various components. It's just a table. You can have something similar from your ERP system, or you can build slowly with time. So basically in this table, I have a field called model family, a field called model code, and some other fields that I find relevant in my application. These Excel files can be customized, and you can program, configure HyDraw CAD in order to be able to read this information. So in my case, I have a column called description and a descrizione, which is the Italian word for description. Then I have manufacturer list price. That's also a possible information. In this case, it's 0.01. It's not making sense. It's not real, but simply to show that it is possible to bring in the diagram some pricing information as well, and other random attributes. So now let me start making my my diagram. So in HyDraw CAD, we start by taking a template. When you install HyDraw CAD for the first time, I recommend you use the HyDraw Metric if you are working in the metric environment, or HyDraw Imperial. I have a different template called HyDraw Start. If you are interested, I can share with you. That has only some already pre-configured paper spaces, so it's faster to plot. So our HyDraw CAD environment is divided into three main areas: the ribbon with all the commands. On the left, we have the Library Explorer, and on the right, we have the Property Manager. So we bring in symbols from the left, place in the drawing, and see the attributes on the right. So let's start. So today I want to build a small compact hydraulic system. So I will start with a pump, fixed, single. So it is possible, if you know where the symbol is located, you just go into the folder, double click, and place the symbol in the drawing. You will see a preview of the symbol, and you just leave it in the drawing where it is. As you see, the symbol will have attributes on the right that are related to that symbol. And as you see down here, we have the German description, which is the attribute that we have just created. And we have also the Italian descrizione, which I added just before this webinar to start. So now, if we know which component it is, and in my Excel file, I didn't show you, but I have some Italian Marzocchi pumps. So if I know the model code, let's say ALP2, let's say that I need a ALP2 Marzocchi pump. So I just type in ALP2, and I use update from Excel to bring in information for this symbol. and interact with the Excel file. So now HyDraw CAD is unable to find exactly that string, but when I click select on the model family, I have a list of the available pumps with different displacement. And let me take a 16 displacement ALP2. Okay, and update. So this is a very smart way for adding attributes to our component in the diagram. Please notice that when you click Save to the library, now this component is saved to my local library. So next time, I don't need anymore to go into the update from Excel to find that component, but I will be able to just insert the symbol and search from the library, from the local database, and search, and I will be finding exactly my ALP2D22 gear pump, or even better, I will be able to search by using the more search option, this command here. I will be able just to find in my corporate database directly my ALP2. And I can find the symbol here. So in terms of being able to jumpstart with HyDraw CAD and slowly build my library, this is probably the most efficient way. Have an external data source where you put the information that you need, and the Excel file can grow day by day, and you interact from the software and then save to the library. The other approach is basically work in the library and build a component. But we help also with component data. So in this case, I took a component that is not available in my database, but we offer also a service called Fluid Power Tools, where we find components from various manufacturers. So let's start with my system. Before searching directly for component in Fluid Power Tools, I will go back to the symbol, and I will go into my cartridge valve, and I need a logic element. I want differential sensing, and I need, for now, a normally closed valve. Let me find it. This one is good. So this is a valve that I will use to go to tank. So basically my pressure line. So I will go in my pressure line, will bring my pressure line going to the right, and I connect my pressure compensator to the P line. To make connection line, we always use this top left part of the software. And then I will put this to tank. So this is going just to go to tank the excess flow that I will use in my rest of the diagram. The 3 port will go to my LX signal, which I will be using, which I will be building later in my system. So now I want to build something like sectional valve. So this is common application in sectional valve, but I will build with the standard cartridge and surface mounted valves. So I need a normally open pressure compensator, this one. And well, let me first specify a component for this. So when you have a symbol without any model data, we can search in the library. And we can search in the database, but I don't have any component linked to this in my own database. I can search online in Fluid Power Tools. And for instance, in this case, I want to search just for Parker. Later, I will search for other manufacturer. Now, let me just search for a Parker valve. And I will take this one, R04E3. If you want, you can open a datasheet, and that will help us with selecting. So I will take this 5 bar, or no, 10 bar. Let's take the 10 bar cracking pressure. So I take this one. As you see, now I have a model data and also the cavity displayed in the drawing. This is the item ID. And this is a generic model code. I have the complete model codes in my Excel file, so I will just update from Excel my component, include all, select. And as you see, I have all the different molecules. I take this one, which was the 10 bar. OK, and update. By doing this, the other advantage is that I get a complete model code, but also in the Excel file, I can bring in my case, the Italian description. I could have the German description or other different languages. So later we will be able to make a part list with the different languages also in our system. So this component is okay. Let's go back here. And again, we stay with Parker. We can do a search generic for all manufacturers. And now we can see different manufacturer for that same symbol. And let's stay with the same size, R04H3 Parker. My system is made of 3 different sections. So I will again update from Excel to find the complete model code. It's always the 10 bar update. And I will copy 3 of them. So select, copy selection, and I need 3 of them. Enter. As you see, when you copy identical items, automatically HyDraw CAD is making 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3. We connect all the pressure here. And if you continue a connection line, then this connection line will be merged. Now there is this small band. We can use the stretch command to simplify the connection. Remember, when you press enter, HyDraw CAD will repeat the last command. So if you have a stretch code running, then you can just keep doing stretch and making the connection. Something strange here happening. Let's see later. Let me save my diagram and data 2021 webinars, and let's call it HyDraw webinar. Now, after this pressure compensator, so I'm building a pre-compensated flow regulator. I will need a needle valve. So we can search for flow control valve, just type flow. And in this way, HyDraw CAD will filter just symbols belonging to flow control valve category. So when you use the search command here, you will filter folders including symbol belonging to that category. So flow control, and we just double click and place our symbol in the drawing. And I want to connect it. And again, I want to specify a component here. And let me search. Now it's a very generic search, so there are a lot of needle valves. Let's stay again with Parker. And I take an MVH 081. This one is good. And let me again use the update from Excel to find out information. And let's take this one, which is a thin regulation update. We need another one, so we copy. You can use AutoCAD copy command. So type CP, press enter, and start and finish. And we do again our connection. So pressure line from 1 to 1. Remember, the connection line is always run by selecting the command. Now we want to have a directional control valve on top of these 2 valves. And now let's go and search in Fluid Power Tools directly for some NG6 directional control valve. So in this case, I will look for a D1VW004 Parker, but I want to use ethos valve. So I start from a Parker search. D1, there's an extra 0. If you don't know how to spell the model code, it's better to use %. So I would have written D1VW0%4. Then I will jump always to the same result. let me take, well, no, I was saying that I need an ATOS valve. So if you select a symbol and click this small command, show linked model, we will be able to find a different manufacturer. So now I'm going to search for ATOS, and I need a DHE0713. This is fine. Double click, and I place my symbol. Again, this is somewhat a limitation in Fluid Power Tools. We never store the complete model code. The reason to do that is because we have so many manufacturers that we would end up having millions, really millions of model codes. So my recommendation is really, if you have your preferred manufacturer in an Excel file, then it's very easy to then apply the complete model code here. Update from Excel, select the symbol, include all, select, and now we have, in this case, only two versions. That in my database, in my Excel file, I have only the 12 volt and 24 volt. Let's stay on the 24 volt, update. And now I can select, make the connection. Now, this system is pre-compensated. I need to read the pressure after the flow regulator. If you don't like the connection where it is made, actually, you can select the line and just stretch the midpoint. There can be the situation where the connection is not staying perfectly horizontally. I recommend always using the stretch command. So stretch command is easier to use. You click stretch and select the segment that you want to modify. Enter to repeat the last command always. I want to copy the same item. Copy, and let's take a point, enter, and that's it. Here we want to have a proportional valve, so that in this case we want to control the flow on these elements manually, but here we may want to control with a proportional valve. So let's go back to the, well, we can do a search now. Let's say that we want Comatrol valve. Although Comatrol is part of the Enforce in Fluid Power Tools, you will find still the manufacturer Comatrol, and we need a proportional valve, flow control proportional skewing cartridge, and we can search in our database. We find a lot of items. Let me take PSV 10, normally closed. This one looks good. Double click. If you are not satisfied, you can always open the datasheet. So here, view datasheet, and you can see the datasheet of your component. This one, the item I need. Again, I can update from Excel if I find it. Hopefully it is in my selection, yes. And I take always a 24 volt. Let's say that 25 liter per minute spool, and update. I can make the connection, and let's say that on top I still have the same element. So copy, enter, and do the connection. And again, I need the pilot line and stretch. Now I want to connect all the tank lines. So my tank line will go this way. And well, I can keep doing my connection and go down here. The connection will automatically merged. Stretch, select. I recommend you don't select and run stretch. This is the only command that I really don't recommend you select and run. It's better always to run the command and select the segment that you want to stretch, because it will never take, if it is already selected, it works, but it will never take the segment that you expect to. It takes the first segment of the line, which is not what I want to do now. Tank line here, and again tank line here. Let's say that we need electric unloading. So now I need, let me go for a HYDAC valve. So I take a WS10Y and search. And this one is okay. I just needed a single direction flow. Double click. I place my valve in the drawing and flip upside down. I can also flip horizontally, and I can make my connection. And also the tank line. Now, this valve, I always do the update from Excel and select the Buna one, only the cartridge. I want to now manage the coil. So if I select this component and open the accessory, so it's down here, I can see that my the coil for this component is number 41836. I don't have coils in my library, but I have in my Excel file. So let's see how to take the information from the Excel file. First, I add an accessory. For HyDraw CAD, an accessory is an item that has no symbol, but I want to manage in my part list. So I go and click on the Add New Accessory, which is down here. It's this command, Accessory, and I need to add a coil and electronics. Now there is a new item, 7-1. It's a child of item 7, first accessory of item 7. If we expand the accessory, we can see that we have a model code. So here model code for coils start with the voltage. So it's better for me to start with the percent 41836, which is a string included in my search. So I will use this as a search criteria in the Excel file. So writing percent 40-1836 will help me finding in the Excel file a string containing that 401836. So if I run update from Excel on this component now, including the accessories, no change is applicable to the first component because it's already up to date with the Excel file. This one, actually, it is asking me the which coil I want. And here, as you see, I have the voltage, and I can just take my 24 DG DIN connector, update. So now I have applied also model data to my accessory. And technically, I could also save my accessory in the library. So next time, I don't need to take all information. Save to library. So then this coil will be available for me in the future directly in the database. If you need the part number, you can just type in the part number, or you can put in the Excel file and bring in together with all the other information. Now we are good with the skeleton of our diagram, and we want to have cylinders on top, some actuators. So we go back to the symbols and find a cylinder, double acting. So this is my first cylinder, second cylinder, and maybe we take a hydraulic motor, vane and gear, and we take this. During insertion, you can also rotate or flip the symbol. If you see on the command line, you can rotate right and place the symbol pre-rotated. If you don't need some items in the part list, just select all and exclude from part list. Let's make some connection line from C to A. R to B. P to A and P1 to B. In order our system to work, we need to put to bring the LS signal to the first compensator. So we need to read the maximum pressure for each element. So we need some shuttle valves. Let's go for HIDAC, WVE. And we take just a small one, R1 by 8. And again, we can use the update from Excel to read the complete model code if needed. Now, this symbol is very large compared to the other diagram. Although I usually don't recommend scaling symbols, but you are free to do what you want. So if you need to scale a symbol, it's better to do an edit symbol. Right click, edit symbol. You enter in an edit mode. And now you can select all the entities and use the scale command. You can type scale with the keyboard, scale, and specify the base point. Always select the insertion point. Please look at the icon. This is the insertion point. Here, let's make it 0.5. Or you can type 1/2. It's scale 1/2. And now we can save changes. And now the symbol will be much smaller. And I really don't recommend, because looking at smaller symbols in a diagram compared to the rest is not really good, and also is out of ISO 1219 rules. But if you want, if you feel it's better for you, you can do. And so this is my first element. Let me do copy and paste. This connection was not there. Just select the line and bring in and position on top of a connection line. So, and in this case, we are selecting the highest signal from both sections. Now we need to bring the highest between all the three sections. So we need additional valves here. So this one is taking the signal from the third and compare with the second. Then we need another one here, which is taking the signal from the fourth and bringing here and taking with the first, and then it goes to the compensator on top. If you need room, just select the symbol, right click, move, start point, and point. Please remember F8 is making ortho on or off, and so F8 will make it easier to move items. Stretch, we can make the connection better. And let's say that the drain of the motor is going elsewhere directly to the tank. So without auto connect, so removing this switch auto connect, you can decide where the connection is going to go. So you can make the connection free. And we go down there. Now let's say that all these items belong to a manifold. And so we do an envelope and we cross connection line with our envelope. So in this case, we have a lot of external ports directly on our envelope. It's now I want to move everything just aligned with the two. There are different ways. So the more intuitive way is just use the align port names. So you take the port with 2 and sorry, it's you align the symbol port, sorry, this one with the 2, and we align vertically, but then the other will not follow. So you need to do twice. A symbol port, we want to align P with this and vertically. I honestly don't like this way because there is a powerful AutoCAD command that does that. So I undo. The powerful command is on top here is a stretch. Stretch will help you with the changing shape of an entity. So this is making much easier. And stretch can be used very efficiently also to make our diagram smaller in different parts of the diagram. So I recommend you practice with the stretch command because it will save you a lot of time in making your diagram smaller, easier to read, and with less effort. Practice, you need to understand how the selection works in the AutoCAD environment, but it is very, very powerful because it's very easy to make smaller diagram within few seconds. If the item ID are not well positioned, you just move them. Let's go back to our port. That's our P port. So we select and type P, and we can specify a size. So let's say this is a 3x4 BSP. That's our drain one, and that's a 3x8. And we go back here, that's A1. The flow rate is maybe 20 liters per minute. So now let's look at what is the recommendation for 20 liters per minute. Now my system is saying 1x4 is enough. That may not be in my case. I need a slightly larger one, 3x8. We can copy size from one port to other. So let's say that in these items, we want to copy all the sizes. So A1, to do it faster, you can just double click and you type the item ID B1, double click A2, and double click B2. A3 and B3. If you see some artifacts, type regen, that will regenerate the drawing and make it work. If you want to move the text on the opposite side, moving the text will be slower, so it's easier to use the mirror command. Mirror this symbol, you mirror according to this axis, and then you type yes, you want to delete the first element. So this is easier. Mirror, yes. So this helps also readability for the diagram. Yes. That's our tank line. And that's maybe 1 inch. And that's our drain line, which was always a 3x8 BSP. If you need to take a look at the diagram, at the logic of the diagram that you have made, you can run a command that is mainly for the manifold, but in this case, it works well. This command works only if you have this kind of entity, the envelope. So in any case, for a diagram without manifold, you need to create an envelope around, and then it will somehow work. Net, you select the envelope, and this command will be able to find out all the different connections that we have in the diagram. So this will be helpful because you can easily check if you made all the connections and the logic of the system is working fine. You can also rename these nets. This command is very powerful when you want to design a manifold with our software MD tools, because all the information will be moved from MD tools from HydroCAD to MD tools to do an efficient design. But in this case, net list command can be used also to do a quick verification of how we made the connections. If you are not happy with the numbering of the components, you can renumber all with the item, select the entities that you want to number, let's say only the manifold, and we want to start numbering from maybe 100. And okay, so this will renumber all items, and as you see, it renumbered also the accessory linked to item 101. Now I want to make a part list. First, let me place a title block. So title block is here. We insert a title block, and we take an A2. Let's try to fit into an A3. It's a bit challenging. Let me move it down. Let's stay with the A2. So you can really switch between A2 and A3 or A0 without any struggle. If you need to work in multiple space, I can provide some templates with multiple pages, so you can draw in different pages. Now I want to make a diagram only with one page. and I have all the information here. So an easy information important in case of manifold is the port list. So when we do a port list on our manifold, so port list, let me highlight it. Port list on the entire manifold. If you struggle with selection, just type all. All means select the entire diagram. If you don't need to select only a portion of the diagram, you type all and it will select all the diagram. Next, and this is our port list, which we can place somewhere here. Of course, the port could be a different, could be a flange, could be a short port, whatever. Just go into the library and you can select the different size, different type of ports, and different sizes. Now I stay with the BSP ports. Now I want to make my part list. If you remember, I was explaining that I have the Italian description, so I want to include the Italian description in my part list. So let me create a new part list format. So by using this small arrow, or you go to the options, the shortcut for option is YO. You just type YO. That's HyDraw options, and it will open the HyDraw option. Now it's on the other screen. There are HyDraw options, so document settings and application settings. In the application settings, update from Excel, this is where I am reading the information. The Excel file I've been using all during this demo is in this location, so you can just select it. And to make it work, let me open a topic here. There must be, this is a difference with the HyDraw CAD 2020. So in HyDraw CAD 2020, the configuration file was called ERP service configuration.xml. In the 2021, the configuration file is called update from Excel configuration. So in order to make this Excel interface work, you need to have the Excel file and an XML file defining the configuration. There is a tool in HyDraw CAD that help you with creating this XML file. If you need help, you can ask us and we will be happy to provide information about how to generate the XML file for interfacing HyDraw CAD with Excel. But I was willing to create my part list. So I go to my list and charts. I want to create a new part list format called HyDraw ITEN, Italian and English. And this will be my new default. I want the ID for sure, which will be 15 millimeter wide. I want the quantity, which will be 15 millimeter wide. Then I need the description for sure. I need also the Italian descrizione, and I may need the mole code. Mole code. Maybe also manufacturer. So this is description. Descrizione. Manufacturer. Mole code. You can decide which attribute comes first. So this goes down, mole code goes up. So I want ID, quantity, mole code, description, descrizione, manufacturer. You can set the width, so 30 millimeter, 40, 40, 35. And that's it. You can also define an Excel template where you want to export this part list if you need to export the part list to an Excel file. I click OK. And now I'm ready to build my part list. So the part list with my multi-language will be done by using the part list command. I select my diagram, enter. It is asking me which part list format and if I want to include the accessory. So in my diagram, I have accessories. So yes, I want to include. I want my default ETEN. Next. So here I have a preview of my system. I thought to put a model code on the manifold, no problem. I can just type the model code is Vest webinar 001. Blocco Logico is the Italian name for manifold, and the manufacturer is Vest Incorporated. When you type in information here, you can update. Well, here I forgot to put the bobina. That's missing information in my Excel file. I will update it. Update. Yes, so this information will go to the corresponding symbol in the drawing. This part list can be exported to Excel, so we can save and do some further processing. Now it's saving, and I just put it here. That's my web part list, and I can insert my part in the drawing. So I put it here. Then I can move my part list anywhere. Any change I do in the item, so let's say that this is item 1, and if you apply a change also to the item descriptions, the part list will require an update. To update a part list, you select the part list, right-click, and select Update Part List. And in this case, it didn't update, so we found a bug. Okay, if you see that the information is not applying, I will check why this is not applied. You just delete and recreate the part list. I'm sorry for this inconvenience, but sometimes we have unexpected situations. So now this is my part list. The last information I want to give you, because we are running out of time, and that was about the solenoid function. So here we have a lot of electric valves. So let me quickly show you how to specify functions to these electric valves. So with solenoid info, this valve is, let's call the electric ID YBP, Y bypass. This is system unloading. That's the functions dedicated to this system. Actually, no, system pressure. The name is system pressure. This valve must be energized to make the system pressure. And this is here, system pressure, because it's normally open. So we need to close it to make the system work. This valve is maybe doing the lift up and the lift down. And we can link the functions to the corresponding coils. That's Y01 and Y02 and so on. And you can see the functions in the drawing, and you can move functions where you need in next to the valve. To be more precise, this valve must be energized also to make that lift down. So we should assign also that function here. We don't need again to display, but we should assign this valve, these functions also to the first valve. So let me not do for the other valves. We can just generate an actuation chart. Let me select only the first half of the diagram. Enter. So this is the actuation chart for only that portion of the diagram, describing which functions and which coil has to be energized to do that particular function. Again, this table can be customized by going into the options, actuation chart, and here we can define the width. So the solenoid ID may be smaller, 20 millimeter, but the functions can be larger, 60. So here you can customize how the table will look like next time you make it.